Welcome back to McNulty's Book Corral. Today we are in Ironwood, Michigan, and we're going to take a little drive a couple of blocks over to a place called Dan's Antiques, and I'm going to see what kind of books and magazines are there. Now, the last time I was here was about a year ago, and his book supply was pretty low, so we'll take a look again and see if it's a little better. But you never know when you go to Dan's Antiques. Maybe I'll find a good pulp magazine or something. So come on, let's go. Hey, are we there yet? There is a lot of cool stuff to find here in Dan's Antiques, but I'm looking for pulp. Where's the pulp? Welcome back to McNulty's Book Corral. I am here, there, and everywhere. So what exactly did I pick up in Dan's Antique store in Ironwood, Michigan? I picked up 4 Argosies from May through July of 1935, and the first of them is May 11th, which features a story called Hell Island by Eustace L. Adams. And who was Eustace L. Adams? Let's see. You know, I don't have a scan coming up too. Really good story. This is, I think this was a standalone. A lot of the stuff in here, yeah, this was a novelette. About 50 pages. And Eustace L. Adams is an author that interests me, so I was happy to get this. Eustace is a man, of course. Eustace Lane Adams was born in 1891 and he died in 1963. And he was a naval aviator who wrote stories and novels about air adventure, which is a subgenre of thrillers that is long gone. Rarely do we get any of that, unless it's retro. I don't have a lot of those, but when I see them, I'm always looking for a better copy. You know, the Grosset and Dunlap reprints from the 30s and 40s are really great to get. But interesting guy, and so this is a really good story. Hell Island by Eustace. I love the cover artwork on this. Argosy. You can't go wrong with Argosy. Then we have Kevin Johnson's The Marines Have Landed. This is from June of 35. And this was a installment. Interestingly enough, what we have here, though, is we have a story by George F. Warts. George F. Warts was born in 1892, and he died in 1967. And he is, among pulp fans, he's best known as the creator of Singapore Sammy. I first encountered Singapore Sammy in this book from 1991, which was sold to me. This is a reprint of some of these stories. And Singapore Sammy was an adventure. This was sold to me by Bob Weinberg. In fact, it still has his original bookmark in here, Weinberg Books, at 15145 Oxford in Oak Forest, Illinois. Specializing in science fiction, fantasy, horror, Doctor Who, mystery, and the pulps. Bob Weinberg was a great man. Very interesting man. The last time I saw him, I think, was at a party in Barrington for one of the Windy City Pulp and Paper Convention after parties. It's the last time I saw him. He's gone now, sadly. I bought a lot of books from him in the 90s, and this was one of them. So he introduced me to Singapore Sammy. So we have a couple of these have George Warts. There's also a story in here by Theodore Roscoe. Theodore Roscoe is another, I forgot to hold up this cover. Theodore Roscoe is another name that I'm familiar with in the pulps. A really superb writer. 1906, 1992. And he also wrote some highly regarded military history books relating to World War II. So Theodore Roscoe is another one. George Warts, Theodore Roscoe, Eustace Lane Adams. Eustace Adams, again, comes up in a couple of these. He was also a driver for the American Ambulance Corps in France, just like Ernest Hemingway. And he was a naval aviator who wrote adventure stories. I think I told you that. So that's why this is an interesting group of four pulps. The Blackbirds Sing, a South Seas novel by Dennis Lawton, and great cover artwork on these old pulps. And this also featured a story by George Wartz. H. Bedford Jones, if you're not familiar with him, when you dig into the pulp history, you will come across books by H. Bedford Jones, many of which have been reprinted, and you can find them on Amazon. So really an interesting group of tales. These books all share something in common in that they have really a masculine slant to the writing. This is entertainment for men, although women read these magazines too, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. But the masculinity that comes out in these stories when I was looking them over. Here's another one by Eustace L. Adams, really an interesting writer. This has a great cover, The Winged Jinx, an air mystery. Again, Eustace Adams wrote aviation air adventure stories. Look at the cool cover. Look at the spooky skull in the clouds there. Really great. And this is a great story, too. And let's see. This was a novelette, so it's complete in this issue. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to read it tonight because I like Eustace Adams. So I was really lucky to get these. Take a look at the advertisement on the back. Who remembers that? I was lucky to get these. Now, these are really low-grade copies of pulp magazines. And I've mentioned before, I really don't buy original pulps anymore. I've stopped doing it. Of course, I just did it. I just bought 4. Because the paper, these are really low-grade copies, and the paper's browning so quickly, it's hard to even handle them. So I've given up on it, unless I see something like this, which is really interesting because there's some good stuff in here. This is really a good find for me to get a Eustace Adams air adventure story complete in a Argosy. So I'm really happy about this. 1935, huh? So fun material to read if you're into the pulps. And I bought a couple of Tarzan comic books, which I didn't scan. So really a modest book haul, pulp haul at Dan's Antiques. He has a lot of wonderful material in that store. If you ever get up to Ironwood, please stop by Dan's Antiques. I buy other stuff there too. I bought some really cool bar glasses for the bar up at the cabin up north that are located there right now, where I'm heading soon. I have to go back. However, Dan's Antiques wasn't the only stop that I made when I was up there in Ironwood. So take a look at this. All right, so since we're up here in Ironwood, we stopped here in Hurley on the way back to the cabin, and wanted to pay my respects once again to the final resting place of that great Western writer, H.A. DeRosso. This is his family plot here. Henry is at my feet, and his parents are over here. I'll give you a few snapshots of those. If you haven't read any of DeRosso's great Westerns, like the classic 44, you should do that. I do have an episode about this. I think what I'm going to do is, when I show you his headstone, it's kind of covered up. I think I may come back. I won't be able to do it this year, but I'm going to have to come back next year, and I'm going to clean out these headstones and make them a little more presentable because nobody's maintaining the graves. So, tip of the hat today to H.A. DeRosso, one of the greatest Western writers of all time, who had a very sad ending to his life. Until next time, let's ride that dusty trail.